Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Afrobeats All Access Podcast, your gateway to the vibrant world of Afrobeats culture. I'm your host, Carlo Dwyer, popularly known as the Afrobeats connoisseur. And on today's episode, I'm going to be chopping it up with someone who I refer to as the Steve Jobs of Afrobeats, due to the pioneering work he has done to harness technology to help level up the culture to a world-class standard. I'm going to be chopping it up with him and get the inside scoop of how he got started, some of the highlights of his career, and some of the challenges he's faced and future plans. But before we get into all of that, I want to take a moment to remind you to like, share, and subscribe, as it helps to get our numbers up and gives us the opportunity to do this bigger and better. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is Afrobeats All Access Podcast. So, joining me all the way from Atlanta, USA, is a very special guest, and I'm incredibly excited to have him on the show. He's the CEO and co-founder of NotJustOk. I'm sure you guys have all heard of this platform before. Please give it up for Demola Ogundele, founder and CEO of NotJustOk.com. My brother, how are you doing? This has been a long time coming. What's good? What's good?
I'm I'm doing very well. I'm happy to be here, and I really appreciate you having me here, man.
That's blessed. This is an honor for me as well. Just before we get into the nitty-gritty, can you please briefly introduce yourself, and talk to us a little bit about your journey with Not Just Okay and what inspired you to start this platform?
Okay, my name is Demola Ogundele. I'm the founder of NotJustOk. I started NotJustOk in 2006. And essentially, what NotJustOk is, well, NotJustOk started as a blog,
Yeah.
right? But ultimately, what we are now is we call ourselves a platform that just entertains the African youth. We use music and sports, but primarily music, Afrobeats, to entertain the African youth globally. So when we started as a blog. It was more of a lifestyle blog. I felt like, at the time I had a very cool life, and living in Atlanta, I just wanted to document some things that I was doing or consuming, and music was one of the things I was consuming
Yeah.
at the time. And I was posting a bunch of different things. At the time, blogging was fairly
Yes.
new, so I just felt like I wanted to document myself and what I was doing. I just kind of like got my first job out of uni, and I was making some decent
Yes.
paper. So I was, enjoying lifestyle a little bit. I was
I
like,
get
okay.
it.
I felt like I wanted to document things, and then as I was documenting and writing all these other things, I was talking about everything: food, restaurants I went to, and then music was one of the things. And then at the time, I just really started going back into listening to Nigerian music, because I came to school in the
Yeah.
States. I left Nigeria in
Mm-hmm.
1999, and then I just didn't revisit the music from
Yeah.
there until 05,
Yeah.
06. And then I started finding guys like
Mm-hmm.
LD. No, sorry, I knew LD
Yeah.
before, but I ran into him here when I saw him. We kind of worked at the same job, and he just kind of reminded me, this guy was, the Afrobeats guy. We formed a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, and then one day I was scrolling through MySpace, and I saw a guy that went to my secondary school, named
Yes.
C, and I remember him from that he was my
Mm-hmm.
junior. But I was like, yo, I know this guy, and then I listened to his music. I was like, yo, his raps were
Mm-hmm.
pretty good, and he's on MySpace, and I was like, wow, this guy is dope. So I shared. So he also inspired me, that knowing that a guy that I went to, my secondary school I
That's
went
right.
to, it was so like close, proximity of, I know this guy was
Mm-hmm.
a junior, and he's rapping this good. That means I need to check the
Yeah.
stuff out more. And then I started posting more Afro beats. Well, at the time they call it
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian music, more of that. And then one day I posted something by a guy called
Yes.
Nice. Nice, he's very popular back
Mm-hmm.
in the days. He performed at a concert in London that was celebrating Mandela's 80th
Right.
birthday. So what I did was I was watching it live on my computer, and I found this tool that I essentially just captured the part where he performed
Yeah.
live. So I grabbed it, and And basically, I think YouTube was maybe about 6 months old then. So YouTube just launched. So I just put it on YouTube and embedded it on NotJustOk side. And then when I woke up the next morning, the
Boom.
traffic just spiked. I just saw like it was like
Whoa.
10,000% uh,
Yeah.
traffic spike. I was like,
You're onto
whoa.
something.
So that informed me. Yeah, that informed me that, you know what? Everybody wants this music. So I kill everything and I just focus on
That's
music.
really, really interesting. So, I have a really interesting story to share with you as well. So back in the days, there was that period where when people would travel to Nigeria and then they'll bring back like the CDs and stuff like that. And I
Right.
remember Not Just Okay was the only platform that you could go on that would have up-to-date information about what was happening. And I remember you guys had the Mino player as well, where you could almost
Yes.
like
Yes. Yes.
create your own playlist. And I thought that was so, so many commutes, even me going to work, like I would like fix up my Afrobeats playlist and I'll just be vibing, and all that was as a result of the Mino player. And at the same time, I'll check in with the blog to find out kind of all the latest news. And I remember being so like proud and, it was a real huge resource for, tapping into the Nigerian culture. And I felt, like this is so fantastic because all the tunes were so good and you guys always kept it up to date with the latest songs. And yeah, I was just like, wow, like this is great. And you know, I think
Wow.
another question I was going to ask you is, what do you believe sets notjustokay.com apart from other music platforms, especially in promoting Afrobeats? Because I think that's one good thing that Not Just Okay does.
Yeah. So I mean, I think when I think about it, it's just we, I think when I started Not Just Okay, it wasn't a
Hmm.
money thing. It was more of something I did like at
Yeah.
night time. I came back from work and I just worked on Not Just Okay. And then of course, as
Hmm.
time went on, we grew the team, and then even the
Hmm.
genre became
Yes.
bigger.
Yes.
So because as the genre
Hmm.
started growing, we grew
Yes.
too. But the key was initially was just the consistency. I think for me, one of the things that really encouraged me was people just wanted to
Yes.
consume it. So I felt some kind of responsibility to
That's
always,
deep.
deliver
Yes.
to them in
Yes.
the beginning. So I got more, yeah. So as I started bringing more people
Hmm.
to the team, I kind of like, you know, imparted the culture on them and said, listen, at the end of the day, people come here expecting, content,
Hmm.
expecting to be entertained, expecting to
Yeah.
listen, expecting to
Hmm.
leave comments, and we have to deliver. So the times when I didn't sleep at
Yeah.
night just to deliver. By the time, I always wanted people to wake up
Hmm.
in the morning and be like, yo, don't these
Sleep.
people
Yeah.
sleep,
Like,
right? That's kind of what
yeah.
yeah. So for me, I always wanted people to just be
Yes. With
served.
the fresh
So that as
tea
time
of
and
Afrobeats.
then
Yeah.
exactly, and then I think one of the other things that really helped us too is we formed relationships with the industry,
Nice.
from the early.
Yes.
So we know kind of like all the players. We reach out, especially in the old back then when we used to get
Yes.
exclusives. It was essentially
That
relationship.
you've built.
Either I had the
Yeah.
relationship or Ovi had the
Hmm.
relationship. So Ovi brought. To be honest with you, I think when
Yeah.
Ovi came in, he brought that pop mainstream
Yes.
aspect to the
Yes.
game for Not Just Okay. I mean, I also was. I mean, I had some pop, but Ovi came
Yeah.
like
And I
really
have to say a special shout out to
connected.
OVO because like I would see his name literally every day on almost every blog post and on things to do with Not Just Okay. So
Right.
I almost feel like I know him personally because I just used to see his name every day.
Personally,
Like he was writing the articles, he was posting
yeah,
the music. It was just
yeah, yeah,
like he seemed to, have like a heavy hand in all things Not Just Okay. So shout out
yeah.
to OVO for that. In your opinion, what do you believe has contributed to the global rise of Afrobeats in recent years? Because obviously now there are a lot of big acts, and I guess the UK is a big hub in terms of the growth of the culture. But how do you see it, maybe from your perspective, being in the States, and how Afrobeats has just what's the main trigger from your um from your perspective?
I think one. I think it started with us here in the
Yeah.
diaspora, right? And I think the success of Nigerians and the success of Nigerians. Okay, I'll speak on
Yeah.
Atlanta, right? Atlanta, see a bunch of Nigerians going popping
Mm-hmm.
bottles, dating African American girls, the African American girls, or girls of other
Mm-hmm.
cultures, in Atlanta, loving Nigerians because they were
Yes.
successful, they were leaders, the men,
Mm-hmm.
right? Eating jollof rice,
Yes.
even though it was spicy, eating, pepper soup, all that stuff. So basically, because they this is just one aspect, right? Because they loved the
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian men, they they started
Culture.
loving the
Yeah.
culture, and then they started, who's this guy? Who's this? And then they started listening to the
Mm-hmm.
music, and they started bumping to the music, and then they started requesting the music, and then they started dancing to the music, and then so now it became part of
Yes.
them,
Yes. Yes.
right? And then as time went on, we grew. The guys, the people in diaspora grew up and started having
Yes.
children. So these children started going
Mm-hmm.
to high school, middle
Mm-hmm.
school, and spreading. They started spreading
Yeah.
Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, and all these remas. So now basically it's now so in different angles it's eating into culture in
Yes.
diaspora. So at the end of the day, because we live here in the
Mm-hmm.
diaspora, our children are also interacting with
Yeah.
other children of other races,
Mm-hmm.
ethnicities, and everything is spreading at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
also the
Yes.
cosigns
The
the
artist.
from the
Oh
Drakes, from the
yes. Oh yes.
Beyonces, um, from all the big. So those everything just it all kind of came at the same
Yes.
time,
Yes.
and then it took off. And I think COVID also helped.
Yes.
COVID helped with
Absolutely. Absolutely.
getting some songs go viral.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is really interesting, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this because you're just confirming a lot of some questions that I've had for quite a while.
Mhm.
One thing, I have so many questions to ask you, so just forgive me. But um,
Nah, bro, shoot, man, I'm
yeah.
here.
So
I'm here.
okay, can you talk to us a bit about some of the biggest challenges that you face? Because I know, building that platform from the ground up, you must have experienced some challenges in, promoting Afrobeats through Not Just
Right.
Okay. Can you share with us, some of those challenges
Mhm.
that you faced and how you overcame them, basically?
So, the challenges, because when I started, I didn't again, I didn't. When I started, Not Just Okay. Yeah, I was an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. I was, how you. I didn't start it to really
Mm-hmm.
make money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first part. I started it because I just felt like it was like a hobby in a
Yes.
sense. But then the hobby that I started now became something that people were
Mm-hmm.
responding to, like, and I, nobody has ever responded to anything
Yeah.
like that for stuff I did. Like, it was like, oh
Mm.
shit, like at this rate, people were leaving comments, and the comments and the
Mm-hmm.
traffic just gave me the
Yeah.
validation, right? But so as time went on, I decided to say, we'll
Mm-hmm.
just grow at whatever pace we
Yeah.
can grow. And I think one of the things that helped us was the virality of Not Just
Yes.
Okay, because it was, with the tag
Mm-hmm.
helped a lot. And as time went on, because Nigerian music started to grow, because the truth is, if the genre
Yeah.
didn't grow, we wouldn't have
That's
grown.
right. That's right.
Period. So, the music business around Nigerian
Mm-hmm.
music grew, and then because it was growing, we
Yeah.
started to grow. As time went on, we started making money, and even when we started making money, I didn't quit my
Yeah.
job immediately. I simply
Stuck
stacked
with
some
it.
some paper. I think Ovi went full time. Yeah, Ovi went full
Yeah.
time first, and then I kept
Mm-hmm.
working full time, but doing stuff. And then as time went on, we started the distribution
Yes, I
arm of
was
the
gonna
business. So
ask
we
you
started
about that
distributing
because
music.
I think that is such a fantastic idea. And just for anyone who doesn't know, and is wondering what we're on about, like Not Just Okay is basically set up a distribution platform which essentially allows music from your popular Afrobeats artists to be available on all your digital streaming platforms, and it does a lot of other things. And I'll leave you, Demola, to kind of explain kind of the business behind it. But I just
Right.
wanted to mention one key point, like when I saw that, because I saw it, I think it happened, was it around COVID? And I remember thinking, wow, because like I was in awe of just how forward thinking you were. And because I saw, like I mentioned to you before, I used to, have the playlist and I'll download the music.
Right.
I was tapped in, So when I saw
Mm-hmm.
that progression, um, to the distribution platform. And I remember early on, you also had a database. I think it was powered by some sort of database where you had recorded all the names of the artists, their birthdays. You had all this
Right.
data
Right. Right. Yeah.
about the artists, and then you used to leverage that
Right.
data to almost push the channel or push the platform forward,
Site. Yeah.
So maybe you can talk to us without giving too much away, but can you talk to us a little bit about that side
Yeah.
of
So
things?
the so this so yeah. So the
Hmm.
distribution side, we started that actually way before
Yeah,
COVID. We started that in maybe no 08, like 2000 and bro, let me think, 5 years, like
yeah,
2012 to
okay,
2013. Yeah, so it's like 2012, 2013. So we started that, and then because of the relationship we had, and the reason why we started it was, okay, look, at the end of the day, when we came, everything
hmm
was free, right? So it was, initially when I started, I didn't want to do free
yeah,
downloads, but we eventually started doing, because we had some competition. I was doing free downloads. People started going to them, so we're like, okay, we'll just do some free downloads here and there. But at some point, I was like, yo, I don't want to just mess people up and you know be giving the songs out for free, especially when iTunes and all these platforms
hmm
started coming out. So we essentially started distributing, connected with platforms, started partnering with platforms, and we were able to distribute to those
yeah,
platforms. And because of our relationships, I think our first person I distributed for was Keith Daniels, like his
yeah,
first album. Because again, we had a relationship, so we started distributing there, and then we kept
hmm
growing. We distributed for Davido,
yeah,
DMW, Pato Rankin, Show Them
hmm
Camp, Larry
wow.
Gaga. We also then we also started, we have like a label slash distro. We signed Sounds.
I love
We have a
Sounds.
bunch of
Sounds
other
is
people
like
that.
one of my favorite artists at the moment. Like he's
Yeah,
unbelievably
yeah,
talented.
it's dope.
Shout out to Sounds, by the way.
Yeah, so for sure, for sure. So essentially, we're also we're still looking to expand. But as far as challenges, you asked earlier, what were the challenges? I think one of the biggest challenges for us was Mino. When we
Yes.
started Mino, I had this. I felt like, yo, and at the time
Yeah.
Spotify was there, Apple
hmm
Music was there, but and then I realized that the listening experience changed, the consumption
Yeah.
experience changed. People stopped coming to
Mm.
us to listen to
Yes.
music on
Yes.
NotJustOk.com. So I was like, you know what? I think the future obviously is
Yes.
streaming, because everybody, I mean, it's
hmm
just easy. You go there, there's a playlist. All you gotta do is hit
Yeah.
play, and it just keeps playing for you. It's easy, it's
hmm
simple, versus opening a bunch of web
Yes.
browsers to
Music.
consume
Yeah.
music. It's
hmm
stressful. So I was like, we'll go build, Mino. So but building was challenging, was
Yeah.
expensive. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what? At this point, it looks like I'm just throwing money into
hmm
fire,
hmm
and let me respect myself, and let me just keep working with Spotify and Apple Music and the
Yeah.
rest of them, who the big guys that can raise $1 billion or $2 billion
hmm
to run a streaming platform. So instead of trying to compete
Yeah.
with them, which at the end of the day, I don't have that kind of
Yeah.
bread, let me just kind of like work with them and
Get
provide
in where
value
you
that
can
way
fit
for
in,
the artists.
basically. Yeah, no, that's
Exactly.
really interesting. And thank you so much for sharing that. Um, and in terms of
For sure.
copyright, because that's, I guess, a slippery slope that even me myself, as doing this podcast, I'm trying to navigate, because I love the music, you know, and I always want to like play like snippets and stuff like that. And obviously there's this dreaded term, copyright. So
Yeah.
how did
Copyright.
you you know, get around those obstacles and, you know, the legal side of things when it comes to copyright?
Yeah, that one was tribulation and fire,
Mm,
man. I went through a lot with that
yeah,
one. So obviously the site, we had a lot of DMCA
yeah,
things. So again, because back in the days, it was free. People wanted to consume. Even artists encouraged us to give their music out for
yeah.
free, because the model at the time was, let my music
Mm-hmm.
spread so I can get
Yes.
shows, right? That's what we
Mm-hmm.
adopted. So as time went on, the evolution of this thing, started to
Mm-hmm.
progress, and we started seeing a lot of changes here and there. And the good news for us was that we also got into distribution, so we kind of
Yeah.
knew we had our hands on the pulse of what was going on as far as
Mm-hmm.
streaming and all that stuff. So um, at one point, I spoke to so because I'm a
Yeah.
distributor, right? I pitch for
Mm-hmm.
artists. I talk to the DSPs, Apple Music and
Yeah.
Spotify. So one time, one of the heads of one of the DSPs in
Mm-hmm.
Africa, I was on a call with him. I was like, "Yo, it's like Mola, you're gonna have to make up your mind. You want to sell music or you want to steal music?"
Right.
So I was
Right.
like,
That was deep. That was deep.
"Right." So it's like, yeah, on one hand you're giving free
Mm-hmm.
downloads, on the other hand you're
Mm-hmm.
pitching for streaming. Which what
What do you want
choose one,
exactly? Yeah.
right? What exactly
Mm-hmm.
do you want? So I was like, on one hand, traffic
Mm-hmm.
is there, but there's no
Yeah.
money there, and then you're also just giving away
Mm-hmm.
value. On the other hand, the future
Yeah.
is here, and there's value there. You're creating value because when people consume on
Mm-hmm.
these platforms, the artists get paid for it. I couldn't create that
Yeah.
kind of platform because I just
Yeah.
didn't have the resources
Mm-hmm.
to do so. I know, and the
Mm-hmm.
older we grow, the the more humble and
Yes.
objective we become. And the more we love the truth, right? So sometimes you don't want to tell yourself the truth, but I realize that I just can't. I don't have the resources that I wasn't able to do what Apple did, and you have to respect Apple, that a big,
Absolutely.
massive company. Spotify is the same. So hey, these guys already provided they've already solved the problem. What? There's no problem to
Mm-hmm.
solve anymore. Just use
Yeah.
solution to create value. So that's where I now started changing everything about not just okay. We moved everything that had to do any
Yeah.
downloads. We branded completely. We focused more on
Mm-hmm.
social, and then grew the social side of things, and kind of like focus more on reporting what was going on in Afrobeat versus providing the music, because the music at the time people just stopped listening to music on
Yeah.
NotJustOk.com because streaming was a better alternative.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much. This is really, really insightful. And how do you see the future of Afrobeats evolving, especially in terms of like international collaborations and mainstream acceptance?
Yeah, man. Mainstream acceptance. I don't know. Obviously, we had a lot of high moments.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could still happen,
Yeah.
but I think it may not be how we think it will. Maybe it might be it might be different kinds of music.
Yeah.
Like fusion, Afro fused with something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or it
I
might
see.
be pop stuff. I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
No, I know what you mean, but one thing I'm noticing a lot more of is there seems to be like a push towards like the East Africa style of Afrobeats, because obviously we know about South Africa with Amapiano, West Africa, obviously we got it locked, you know, with the full kind of, you know, lamba. And in fact, we've even borrowed from Amapiano to make lots of hits. But I'm seeing a kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily a shift, but more of an interest in, you know, the artists from Tanzania and Kenya, and, you know, almost like the French guys as well have
Oh, yeah.
now or
Francophone.
the French-speaking African countries are now beginning to come with a lot of really, really good music now. So I think from my perspective, that's kind of like how I see the genre growing. Obviously, there's been a lot of interest from international acts where, acts like Tyler,
Mm-hmm.
with her collaboration with Sean Paul, and Rema
Mm-hmm.
borrowing the Sade sample and
Yeah.
things like that. That's kind of pushed Afrobeats further into the spotlight now, to the point where we can't be ignored. We're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be denied. We're kind of like here to stay now.
Yeah, we are.
So yeah, it's really exciting. The future of Afrobeats. But I've noticed the Not Just Okay platform is actually grown to the point where it's got, I think, was it like 2.2 million followers?
Yes.
What role do you see, or do you think social media plays in the promotion and dissemination of Afrobeats music?
Bro, it plays a massive role. Like social media is, even for us, is when you look at social media is like the new like platform. Like
Hmm.
it's literally clean the web, right?
Yeah,
So social media is obviously they've spent so much money on infrastructure and everything else. So now it's time for creators to just feel that technology with
that
it.
void.
Yeah. So I feel like right now that's really what 75% of what 80% of the channel that blows up music is social media right now.
Yeah,
So back in the days with radio and everything else, but now it's TikTok and Instagram.
yeah, exactly. Cool. Looking forward now, what exciting projects or initiatives can we expect from Not Just Okay in the near future? I know you've been working behind the scenes and there's so many initiatives, and I'm really proud, I would say, and honored to to know someone who's such a pioneer in the industry. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to interview you. And, this has been in the works for a while. And I just think a lot of people just need to know like who you are, because
Mm.
like they don't realize that the consumption or their consumption of Afrobeats today is as a result of a lot of the pioneering work that you did to kind of, push the genre forward and pioneer and build out that platform, Not Just Okay, to where it is today. So it's almost now like we take it for granted, like it's just there served hot on the plate every week. You
Yeah.
you get the latest music, you get the latest news, you know exactly what's happening. But to a large degree, yourself, OVO, and the rest of the Not Just Okay team are largely responsible for that. So shout out to Not Just Okay, and
Thank you so much
um,
for the kind
yeah.
word. I really appreciate you
Yeah,
know.
so back to the original question. What are there any exciting projects that you're working on that we can expect in the future in terms of are there any more kind of platforms, or are you heading in a different direction? What can we expect from Not Just Okay?
Um, no, bro, no exciting project. 'Cause exciting projects are dangerous, man, expensive too. So
Yeah, I can
to me,
imagine.
it's just value add.
Yeah,
Keep adding the value that is needed, seeing the opportunity slash void that needs to be
mhm,
filled, and then us filling those spaces, and then figuring out how to be profitable doing that too, because it's one thing.
perfect.
Because if I think one of the things that helped us is just figuring out how to make money while doing this stuff. Because truth is,
Yeah,
you could easily just be doing it for free and
yeah.
not monetize, um,
Hmm.
but because out of necessity we had to. So the key for me is to figure out, okay, look, what can we do that can add value to the ecosystem, to where we
Hmm.
can also monetize the value, and then everybody eats, artists eats,
Yeah.
platform eats, and everybody else eats. So it's unfortunate that, well, so just to touch on, the truth is, because Afrobeats is going global, what
Hmm.
happens is, the the bigger an artist gets, they the less they I won't say the less the more they expect that a platform like NotJustOk or a platform that's owned by a Nigerian or an African
Mm-hmm.
country to
Mm-hmm.
support them. So
Yes.
and we do, right. So the Burna Boy
Yes.
with Davido is a given. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, they also feel like because they also want to go conquer other territories, right?
Yes. Yes.
They focus more on those territories. So for instance, hey, they'll probably talk to Billboard, they'll talk to
Mm-hmm.
Rolling Stone and all those platforms that
Yeah.
are more
Mm-hmm.
international,
Exposure,
exposed
basically.
to those markets. But when it comes to like, not just okay trying to do something with them,
Yeah.
it's harder to get them because they're like, they
Yeah.
don't need
Why should I?
exactly. It's like, hey, I'm already big in Nigeria. I'm the king of Nigeria. So what
Yeah, 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 yeah,
those things
yeah. No, I get that. No, that's really good insight, and thanks so much for sharing that. Another question I was going to ask you is, as a leader in the industry, which you are, um, what advice would you give to like emerging artists looking to make a mark, like in the Afrobeat scene, the up and comers, basically?
I feel like um, I think the new artists should just kind of like be themselves. You don't have to be who you're not. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Thames is a testament to that. Um, just talk about or sing about what you're going through, because
Yeah.
there's going to be some people are going to be able to relate to something about it, and you never know, it might just take off. Because I think all the parties, parties, love song, all the
Mm-hmm.
cliche topics,
Yeah.
everybody, I don't know, I don't say people are getting tired of it, but it's like
Yeah.
you just have to have a
Be
unique,
original.
yeah, have a unique perspective, and everybody is unique.
Yeah.
I speak
Mm-hmm.
different, you speak different, I think different, you think different. So be yourself and just
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to package who you are in an attractive manner.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Brilliant. Um, and finally, when I've got two more questions. Finally, when you're not working on Not Just Okay, what does your personal playlist look like? Do you have any favorite artists or tracks that you're vibing to at the moment? I know this must be a really difficult question.
Yeah, they're trying to set me up. But I mean, I listen to everyone. Everyone. I mean, every week when new music comes, I listen to everything. Literally,
Hmm. Hmm.
Friday night, new music Friday. I just sit down and listen to everything. You
And
know,
vibe to it.
yeah, and discover new artists. I always, I'm from the beginning of what me doing is just for me is more. I what I like the most about what I do is discovery.
Yes. And I was going to ask you about that actually, because it almost seems like you guys never sleep. And, it's almost like you're powered by AI in a way, because it's like, how do you guys get to know when those artists are dropping? It's just unbelievable because you wake up, you get the notification and it's like, whoa, like everything is just there, like on a plate for you, to consume. So,
But
that's something that I've often been curious about
you know,
in terms of like, how do you guys make that happen?
I have it. I have a team of
Hmm.
solid
Researchers.
guys, young solid guys that they're on the pulse of everything. So that they're kind of like they know, like literally, they kind of know, like it's
Hmm.
that's their job, and they do a great job around it. So I have to give them their kudos because me, there's no way if I was doing all that stuff right now, everything I'm
Yeah.
doing now, I'm too I'm not even fast enough anymore because back in the days
Yeah.
it was the web. Today it's
Hmm.
just it has to be like it's like
Yeah.
yeah, you have to be fast.
No, that's really, really good. And thank you so much for sharing that.
For sure.
Um, Finally, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners about Not Just Okay or the Afrobeats movement?
I think everyone, Nigerians, Africans, everybody that loves Afrobeat just keep supporting the genre. Let's keep
Hmm.
supporting our big stars because the bigger they become, the bigger the genre becomes. I'm always rooting for Burna Boy, Davido, Wizkid, Thames, everyone, and then I
Hmm.
keep praying that new guys come out, become bigger, even surpass the ones that are already big. So
Yeah.
I feel like we just need to keep supporting and keep showing love to all the acts because these guys work very hard
Yeah.
and and they put themselves on the line every time.
Hmm.
Vulnerable, even when they're caught
True.
doing what they're not supposed to be doing on videos here and there. But ultimately, we just have to keep supporting them, the music, so that we keep enjoying. Because Afrobeats, to be honest with you, it has basically made the African culture beautiful. I remember
Yes.
when when I first came to the States, it wasn't cool to be
Yeah.
African. It wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. Now everybody wants to be Nigerian. Everybody wants to be
Everybody wants
Wizkid.
everybody wants to go to Nigeria for Daily December as well.
Yes.
So it's crazy.
Yes. No, thank you so much. This has been an absolutely fantastic interview. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Same here.
Um, and thank you so much for, making time. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. I'm so happy we did this.
Thank you. So much.
I hope you all enjoyed the interview with Demola, CEO of NotJustOk.com. We've been through sort of how he came up with the idea to start Not Just Okay, the challenges he faced, some of his future plans, and everything else in between. But before we go, I'd like to remind you to please like and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with the latest episodes. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Sure.
Put your body on me. Girl, I want you to know the things I wanna.
Take it easy. Catch some cruise with my cheese. You spoke one for.
Angel, not to follow the gas, now you fast, now you take my heart go. I want you, let me remind you.
On and on my day, then no fit touch my energy.
Don't tell me,
Take it to the max. Please just rewind, let me shake it to the max.
Baby, some money. You know say you matching my steez.